So, um, for whoever is in chat, please let me know if you can hear Brian rustling around. We think we have audio working this week. So Brian said something. If you're in chat right now, type in whatever he said, and he might send you a Prism sticker. People are very engaged this week, I see. So anyway, let's do a little app here for Prism modularity. Um, and yeah, Prism modularity. Okay. And again, one of these days I really should. Is this thing on? I really should install the templates to make my life a little easier here. I still haven't. Well, it's Visual Studio 2019, and like you were just talking about an hour ago, um, it is not the most stable thing in the world. Yeah, but I don't have it installed. I could. I'm not going to, but there are a lot of things I could do, Brian. All right. So with that, anyway, let's see here. Let That's a great question. I suppose you could mute your mic for a second and unmute the Twitch that you're watching. That gave you an idea, huh? Okay. So let's see here. So we're going to install Prism Dry IOC. You will actually notice, by the way, I did put up in preview the extended package that I demoed the other week. And so we'll go ahead and install the regular Prism preview here. Get this going. So, turn this over to Prism application. My audio is way low. Okay. That's a good question. I can reposition the mic too. I did kind of move the mic around. So let me do that actually real quick here. I'll mute it for a second while I move it. I guess it helps if I unmute too. So hopefully this is a little bit better with it right in my face like that. It is directional, of course. So we'll create a Prism application here. What in the hell? Oh. Hey, James. Thank you for joining here. Yeah, Nightbot is going crazy again, it looks like already. So we're going to create a Prism application here. And, you know, I like to just kind of let my XAML define what the class type is. So we'll do a quick build, that way IntelliSense can catch up here. Hey. Yeah, you got a, oh, thank you for reminding me, James. So now that IntelliSense is kind of caught up there, we can implement our abstract class. And say to the audio mixer to say mono. Okay. Let's see here where that is. Okay. Hopefully that is a little bit better. Thank you for joining, James. Good to have you on here. All right, Brian. Yeah, we'll see you in the chat there. Yes, one of these days we will get audio working so Brian can join us on here. Cool. So we're going to add a module as well. Whoa, that got very loud. We'll turn that down. Let's see here. Actually, if Brian is not on chat, then I don't need those headphones. So we're going to add another project here. And we'll do a class library. We'll call it Module A. Well, thank you guys for the follows. Is that Kitty Kaboo? Thank you. And say some module, we'll call that. Add Prism on here. Got to get to the right tab, of course. So we'll install that now in our module. So modules are very, very easy to set up. So we'll add iModule. Thank you. Is that House of Booch? This is very hard to read on that small little monitor there. So you'll notice with the iModule, it's actually very similar to Prism application, where we have our oninitialized and register types here. So it should be a very familiar feeling. You know, Brian, I think your Skype was messing with all audio here. Well, maybe not your Skype, it's Microsoft Skype, right? So we've got our module there. And we actually don't need a single page anywhere inside of our main application. So we're free to do what we need to in here, but we can keep this very minimal. So I know James was just talking about the Xamarin.Forms shell, but I almost like to refer to this as a different type of shell. It is a shell of an application where it's just kind of bringing things together. So your modules can, trying to think how to explain this right, so that way people who maybe don't understand it can get a sense of where it's really good and very powerful. But let's say that you're working in teams and you have different components within your application. I'm peeking. Move my mic back. Thank you, Brian. Hopefully that's a little better. Let me know if I need to turn that down. But if you have different components within your application, say you have your authentication piece of your application, let's say you have some sort of customer dashboard and admin dashboard, you can separate each of these into modules that can be worked on independently. And you can actually work on this in an application that has nothing to do with the rest of your overall larger application, where you can just focus in on that one component, which is one of the reasons why I really love modules. And you can also build and test these where you package it up as a NuGet. So there's really a lot of different power in here, and they're very easy to get added. So we'll add just a very simple test page here. So we'll come in here, we'll say view A, and then all we need to do here again is just register our page. So we'll say register for navigation, and we'll say view A. And again, this would be the exact same as if we had done this inside of our application itself. And now all we need to do is inside of our application, we just need to configure the module catalog. So in the module catalog, we're going to add the module, and what do we end up calling that? Some module, because I'm very creative today. So let's see here, add a reference. And now we can say with our navigation service that we want to navigate to view A. we'll get rid of that there. All right. And I believe that's all we really need. So let's go ahead and run this, but I'm going to try connecting to the Mac here because if you guys remember from last time, my computer really does not like the Android simulator at all. So let's give that a second to connect here. Why is it not starting? Seems like it always wants to take forever. All right, so we've got that connected. Give it a second. There we go. So we'll go ahead and launch this, and we should see View A pop up. And you notice in our app, we actually have nothing registered here. We have really nothing at all inside there. Oh, what did we miss? Well, that's fun. Oh, yeah, so there is a issue with NuGet. I always forget about this. So because we didn't have Xamarin.Forms directly installed, it doesn't get all of the build targets. So we just need to come in here and install Xamarin.Forms directly to our module. That way we get our build targets, and then it'll be able to generate the initialized component. So we'll try that again. What is going on? Okay. Let's undo some of what Visual Studio likes to mess up here. There we go. Fourth time is the charm, right? All right. See which, oh, it's going to come over there. And I think, Brian, you're right. If you're still watching, they definitely need an option on here to bring things onto the same screen as Visual Studio is on. All right. This will launch. And we need like the Jeopardy theme music here. All right, so you see we got our Welcome to Xamarin.Forms from View A with our module. But, you know, it gets a little bit more fun. So I'm actually going to bring in a NuGet package that we have out there on NuGet. Oops. So let's bring in the logging demo. We'll see here. Thank you, .commie, for the follow. Appreciate that. Okay. So, see, we got a little README text. So the module uses Prism plugin pop-ups, which relies on RG plugins pop-up. If you're relying on having functioning iLogger, okay. So let's I probably should update that at some point here, but let me just kind of do a little copy paste here. So deep dive, come in here. So what we needed for, what did we actually need for that? So we're gonna bring this in. So just like we had here, but one of the things that I think will be kind of fun to do is, actually, let's keep this as a on-demand load, right? So this is actually really where I think it gets interesting and very powerful. So kind of going back to my example before where we had the idea of you have like a customer module, you have like an admin module kind of thing. You could do things where after a user authenticates, you could actually determine what modules you want to load dynamically. And based on that, you can create a very dynamic user experience, right? Because you're providing them certain content based on who they are and what roles that they might have or user groups that they belong to. So let's see here. Let me bring this up. You can tell I'm trying to remember code I wrote several months ago. So let's see here. So we do need course to do. This is what I was trying to say in my README. So that's always, I think, the test is write code, write documentation. Don't touch it for like 6 months and then come back to it and then realize what a terrible job you did. So, and of course you have to have a sense of humor to make fun of yourself in the whole process as well. Let's see, close that. Let me see what it is actually registering. Okay, so we are registering the syslog, logger, editable. Okay. So let's try running this now, but actually what we want to do, I think, is let's add a view model. And we'll say this is a view model. Assuming I can type here. So let me see. We want to bring in iModule Manager. Okay. Module Manager. Why does it always seem the IntelliSense wants to choose the one that I don't want? I don't know why. Okay, and then we'll create a delegate command. So we'll say load module command. Technically, I don't really need it there, but that's all right. And then, so the load module command, we'll say new delegate command, and we just want to take that module manager and we want to load, God, what was that called? I have like no memory at all. So we want to load the module. Oh, no, I was right. Okay. So we're going to load our logging module when this delegate command gets executed here. And I suppose technically it would be even better if we have some way of navigating there, right? So we'll do that as well. So we'll say load logging module. And we'll do a binding, not bindable layout. Sorry. Binding to that command. And then let's actually bring in an XMLS for Prism. Prism, thank you. And then we'll add another button here. And so this one will say navigate to logging page. All right. Okay, and then for the command here, we'll say Prism navigate to, and I have to remember what that page actually was. So it's the logging settings page. And let's actually do, say, navigation page / logging settings page. And so we will do one registration here in our application. And I'll give you the wonderful guess here of what we want. So the container registry, register for navigation, navigation page. Always important to get that semicolon in there too. And we'll finish that off. And I think that should be good. So let's go ahead and do that then. Okay. For Brian, is there any perf memory issue when we use delegate command? Yeah. Do keep in mind, by the way, this is more of an ad hoc, making up as I go. There are certain things here where I would not normally follow. You know, like I wouldn't typically do this if I was writing production code. So, all right. So one of the things that we'll see first and foremost is if we hit navigate to logging page, nothing happens, right? Because it's not loaded. But if we load the logging module, now we should theoretically also see nothing. No, we should theoretically have seen something. So let's actually, this is why I don't like this, because I can't step into this code, right? And actually, let me test it out. So there is actually a load completed event. Yep. Okay. It's a terrible name. So if the event is, see, the error is not equal to null, let's do this. System diagnostics .debugger.break. Let's try that. So basically what this will do is when the module is loaded, if there is an error, we'll end up getting this, well, either way, we'll end up getting this event triggered when it's loaded. But if there was any kind of error, we'll see that error and we should hit a breakpoint right there. And that way we can see what the error actually is. All right. So let's hit that. So it looks like we didn't actually hit an error, but we're still not getting that. So there's something funky here. What am I missing? Brian, if you see something, do speak up here. So we have our logging module. Did I not copy that correctly? So we'll try that again. First, your intentional breakpoint doesn't work. You can always try again. Just make sure we're hitting this. All right. So we'll try, or are we not getting that? Well, that is very interesting. So I guess one thing we can do, just to make sure, this is like more of a sanity check because I should have hit a breakpoint. So let's try view a view model. Suppose this is the real value of the Twitch stream, right? Is you see me not get it right and have to come back and struggle through it just like everyone else. All right, so we'll load that up, and now are we gonna get it? We're still not hitting a breakpoint. That's very interesting. So let's maybe break this out. Let's see. Void. We'll try that. That way I can actually validate that I'm getting into this command here. And I'll, again, just make sure that I didn't have like any kind of mistype or something there. All right, come on. So we're still not hitting breakpoints. Huh. Well, that is very strange. Anybody in chat have any theories as to why we wouldn't hit a breakpoint here? We should be hitting a breakpoint. We shouldn't need iNotify property change because everything is set inside of the constructor. Suppose what I could do, the private class on the view model shouldn't matter either. So I guess what we could do is check for the binding context changed and just do a breakpoint here as well, just to validate that we actually are getting our view model, because we should be hitting a breakpoint. A full clean and rebuild. We can try that right after this build. So let's see here. Yeah, we never hit this breakpoint either. So yeah, I think Kiddo Kaboo there is correct. We probably need to do a full clean and restore or rebuild. Yeah, it didn't even hit in this on binding context changed, which means that we weren't even getting our view model. And if you look in the module, I updated this, so we've explicitly given it the view model type. So we've taken away any type of problem that that it would potentially have. So it should be able to do that. So let me try this again here. Remember, this is actually a private class. It's an internal class by default. And internal is never been a problem. The module is not there when you start. What do you mean that the module is not there when I start? Oh, well, that's always fun. Oh, and I know exactly why. Okay. I should have remembered this. Okay, so there is, I'm using the latest preview of Prism, and I just created the issue today, so you would think it would be fresh on my mind, and I would remember, but I didn't. So we actually need to do a fix here, so it's without the fast expression compiler, because we're doing this on Android. So in Dry IOC 4.0, they added the fast expression compiler, which makes a fast IOC container even faster using JIT. The problem is iOS doesn't support JIT. So that would be our problem. So now we should hit like a whole bunch of breakpoints, hopefully. And this will, well, let's see. Which breakpoint do we hit first? Okay, so we have our breakpoint here in the view. So that got hit this time. All right. So now when I say to load, okay, now we're hitting things. Now things are working. Okay, perfect. Boy, that's frustrating. Apparently we were swallowing an error there, probably when we were creating that view model. So, okay, so we have our view or our module being loaded. Let's see, now we have the event. Oh, we're missing a method. What's the missing method? Well, that's very interesting. I do not know why we would be missing that method. This is a debug. We should not be linking. I can validate this. Hold on. Yes, we're not linking. So why are we missing something? Oh boy. Okay. What in the world here? So let's see. Method not found. Container extension. Register. Huh. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah. So I suppose something I could do, since we're having these issues, let me actually back this out and let's go with a slightly different package that I know works. So let's go with Prism Dry IOC Extended. So I actually just put this up into preview, and that is currently using 3.02 for Dry IOC. So hopefully that'll maybe resolve it. That is going to get angry because that method doesn't exist. Okay. So we'll do a clean and rebuild that. Yes, exactly. The joy of live coding. Indeed. You know, we only like to say that things go perfectly, right? And that's what we like to tell everyone. But everyone really does go through struggles as they're developing. It's just part of the business, unfortunately, right? Okay. Try IOC 4. Yeah, Dry IOC 4 is the issue there. And actually, I should put navigation page. You know, I totally did that wrong, didn't I? I'm just looking at that. This is not how navigation pages should work. I should already be in the navigation page. So let me change that. Okay. Maybe if I stopped to eat every once in a while and I had like some nutrients. Yeah. Okay, as I understand it, it's an issue that affects iOS in general, not XF4. No, the issue I'm talking about is with Dry IOC 4.0, not Xamarin.Forms 4.0. So this project is actually using Xamarin.Forms 4.0. We're still hitting this, huh? What on earth? Made of... Okay, fine. Trying to think here. So if it really wants to be a pain, I suppose what I could do... We'll try another package. Just like adding all kinds of new packages today, trying all kinds of things to make it work. Let's try the Unity package. I haven't done that in a while. Unity Forms. Okay. So, and this is, one of, I think, the nice things about the IOC abstractions that we did in Prism 7 is it allows me to rapidly change containers if that's something that I want to do. So let's go ahead and we will do a clean, make sure we're all restored. All right, when I said you, okay, okay, so I actually just spoke with the maintainer of Dry IOC yesterday. So he is aware of it. He is tracking it. There is an issue on GitHub for it. In the meantime, we also have an issue on the Prism website as well to implement the workaround. So that way we can add that one line that needs to be done theoretically. And I have used it with another project this morning, and I know it does work as a matter of fact. But I'm live coding, and so by nature, it's just not going to work. So let's try. We'll make sure everything is restored. Of course, there is another issue too. I heard somewhere that Visual Studio 16.1 now ships with NuGet 5.0, and there's some problems with that. So luckily, I actually do have NuGet installed on the CLI, because that's just how I roll. So I can always go back with 4.9.4 as well, if I can remember where I put this. What did I call this project? Prism Modularity. I guess better question is where did I put this? Oh. Okay. So we'll do a NuGet restore. So I'll do it from the command line. You can't actually see me doing it, but I guess I can pull it over. Yeah. Never be afraid to use the command line though. And I do recommend, just as a general sense, on Windows, download NuGet, add it to your path, add MSBuild to your path. That way you can always do things from the command line. It's very powerful to do it that way. So let's try to rebuild this here. Oh, really? Now there are issues, build issues? Oh, because dry IOC can't be found, yeah. I understand that. So things I demo all the time suddenly don't want to work because we're on here doing this live. It's the other problem is when you put all those breakpoints, you forget to take them out. Okay, so we'll do that. Do we have an error this time? No, we're still missing that method. Method not found. Oh, you know what? I think I know why, actually. So we do have, let me go back here. So if I come into NuGet and I search for the SoCal logging demo here, and I look at the dependencies. Okay, so we were using 7.1 and we made some changes to the API. So let me actually back it down. So instead of using the latest, greatest stuff, I will kind of come back here to do, oh, I didn't realize I installed it and everything. So we'll uninstall it there because we don't need it there. And then what I will do is, for Prism, I will back this down to the latest stable, and that should work. Okay. So that's latest stable, and then we'll say latest stable. All right, what needs to be consolidated? I love how it shows me that something needed to be consolidated, but nothing had to be consolidated. Okay, so back that down. We'll get it all eventually, right? Perfect. Okay, so this time it should actually work here. I say so confidently, right? So, and the other thing I should say is, let's see. Oh, yes, of course. That won't work because that is a newer feature. XAML. No, come on. Prism. It's not going to help me out. Okay. Do we have it in there for that? Yes, I think we did. Good. And then I'm going to have to update this as well. So Prism. So, okay, so good to know it has the same problem actually with Unity. So Unity.Forms. Okay. All right, so now we have all of that updated. That should work. So all these little things, these little API differences that have made it a lot easier to use. And then I go back and use what I know a lot of you are still using. I'm like, oh man, why don't you just upgrade? Okay, so we'll relaunch this here. Then we could probably have a little bit of fun. Oh, okay. Someone remind me to take that line out. And did we? Okay, good. So this time the error is null, so all of that is working. That was our problem, is we were referencing Prism 7.2, but the dependency that we took required Prism 7.1. Okay, so now we should, there we go. We should be able to go to our logging settings, and I'll be honest, I have no idea what my IP address is at the moment. So let's see. So it is 86.28. Okay, and then we're going to bring this over here. So for the logging demo, this little logging module, it actually uses, what's going on here? 8.6, okay, 2.8. So for this logging module, it actually uses the logging extension or the logging plugin I have for Prism, and specifically it uses the syslog logger. So this is actually something I've adopted for a lot of my debugging and in development practices. It's very, very useful. So you're constantly sending all of your logs, via a UDP packet in the syslog format. So that way I can collect it all on my desktop while I'm completely disconnected. So I don't have to be connected to Visual Studio to get the console output. And let's see. Hey, Rob, thanks for the follow, bud. So you can very easily see what's going on here. So we'll try this out. And let's see here. We'll report a fake exception. And that should have... Yeah, I'm done. Yep. So there we go. So now we have in our log, so we can see that the demo app sent us a message here, and we have a message, whoops, something went wrong. And that all came from a module. So you notice nowhere in any of this code did I set any of that up. The only thing that I have done in order to get that functionality is to add this one line, and I made it intentionally more difficult on myself by saying I wanted it to be on demand, which is why we had to do the load module. But we were able to get all of that for free from a NuGet that we downloaded using the iModule. So this is really the huge benefit and the power of it. And let me just kind of show you guys. We can go to the project site as well. So this is all from a template that I have also on GitHub here, where you can create yourself a little what I refer to as a shell application. I know like it's very confusing now with Xamarin.Forms 4 and like shell, but it's simply an idea where you have just a disposable throwaway app that is for testing certain functionality that you're going to package up. So this entire application here, it's all about this one project, this one logging module, and it contains its own resources. So you see that it has its own services that get registered. It has views, it has view models that go with it. There's also some resources in here as well, so you can do it, everything is localized. Well, theoretically, there's no translations in there, but you get all of that for free because that can all be maintained by itself with no regard for anything else. And again, this is really why I love modules so much. Let's see, do we have any questions on modules? Maybe, hopefully. Well, hopefully not, I guess. I don't know. Let's see, where is that? Shell app template. Yeah, so if you come in here, guys, to the shell app template, this actually has a PowerShell script that'll let you create a whole bunch of these projects all at one time. So, and you have some examples as well. So I can create like a Contoso auth, Contoso settings, Contoso user profile, and I can say that, the company name is going to be Contoso or whatever, give it an output path, all these different things to just make it very easy where you can rapidly say, here's all the resources that we need. And you can give, different developers, a task, so one developer owns Contoso auth, another one owns Contoso settings, that sort of thing. I do not know why people want to talk to me so bad today. Good Lord. Yes. So I think that's pretty much it on modules. It's really not as hard as what people envision it to be. I know a lot of people think it's very difficult, but it's actually a very lightweight, very easy API to get started with and to use. So you can really do a lot of powerful things in here. This is just really scratching the surface. Anything you can do in your application, you can do in a module. And you can, like I said, you can bring these things in and do all kinds of crazy things. So unless there are any real questions, you guys have gotten all quiet in chat. You know, it makes me think I'm just talking to myself. But yeah, so that's Prism Modularity, guys. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope my struggles in this have kept you guys amused and feeling like, you know, it's okay to not get it right the first time. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. It has been a blast. I know this is kind of a shorter stream here on Modularity. We'll catch you guys next week. Hey, Dan here. Hope you enjoyed another wonderful episode. Be sure to hit subscribe and like so I can keep bringing you even more great content.